So hi, I'm Debbie Caldwell from the Don Catchment Rivers Trust. I'm the Natural Flood Management Officer, and we are in Newfield Springwood in the Moss Valley, which is just south of Sheffield on the border between North East Derbyshire and South Yorkshire. And we've been working here in the woods for a good number of years now, putting in a whole variety of different leaky barriers, like this one you can see behind me, and they vary in shapes and sizes, and we've put them across the brook and also through ditches and anywhere there's any sort of flow through the woodlands. And the idea of these is that in times of flood, the water level will rise behind them, hit the leaky barriers, and then sort of back up behind, and it acts as a temporary store of water. And with enough of these sort of throughout the woodlands, it's just holding back a lot of water in times of heavy rainfall, reducing the risk of flooding further downstream by keeping that water out of the main moss brook at the bottom of the woods. Even though a lot of these measures were put in to try and help reduce flood risk, there's no sign of flooding at the moment, as we're having our warmest and driest spring on record in Yorkshire. We've now got a hosepipe ban from Yorkshire Water as well as a result, and all of our rivers and our reservoirs are all looking incredibly low. So hopefully you can kind of see that the river here is looking pretty low on water. You can see where the normal water level should be and how much below that it is at the moment. So something that we've noticed, which we weren't really thinking about when we put in the leaky barriers, was that we ended up with these pools on the downstream side, and where that's sort of come about because when we get the flood waters, water obviously backs up behind the leaky barrier and it's forced through the gaps between the logs and over the top, and so it scours out the sort of downstream side of the dam, and you end up with these deeper pools of water. And we started to spot that there were trout and other fish using these pools when we've had sort of drought conditions and water levels have dropped. And that's because species like trout and salmon need a lot of oxygen, and when river levels drop and water temperatures rise, we have less oxygen in the water, so they seek out these pools as kind of refugia. So that's been a benefit of the dams that we hadn't really thought about when we put them in. So that's been nice to see that they're also providing help in times of drought as well as flood. But yeah, one of the things that we're supporting as a result of the pressures that our rivers are under is the campaign called Making Space for Water, which is all about asking the UK government to support landowners and farmers in creating nature-rich, thriving river corridors and creating that more space, and that's so that our rivers can cope with some of these extremes that they're being put under with climate change, so drought, flooding, and just being able to provide a bit more space, because obviously these pools and things only last so long, and we need to create a lot more diversity and habitat for wildlife to be able to cope with these extremes in weather.